Wesley, obviously an absolute force. And we are switching from a Sicilian, which we've seen been played when JKD is black, to now D4 on the first move for Wesley. So what do you make of that opening change by Wesley?
Interesting stuff. I mean, I think during the breaks, I was going to say, I wonder what the players do. I think some players just go take a breather, drink their espresso. But some players, they look at the games. It's like you imagine that boxing break. The coach tells them the motivational couple of words. Here, you just quickly decide, all right, am I going to keep this opening? Am I going to keep that opening? Maybe they look something up really quickly. And that really adds to the intrigue because we really see the decision-making of these players in action, which I always feel like is awesome. It's a window into these players' minds. You can see the wheels turning. Wesley, very interesting. And Duda taking the first long think. I'm sure this is theory, but this is a very dangerous position if black doesn't know what to do. That knight on e4 could get trapped after c5. f3 becomes threatened. He plays f3 immediately.
Right, so the knight does have the d6 square, which is why you mentioned c5. And I have played this from the white side before, so I know that the common idea is to play d5 for black, and I could have been mixing up my lines. So that actually happens, even at the game's very highest levels with players of the caliber of Wesley and JKD, is they know the different ideas, but maybe a subtle change in the move order or will say, well, the idea with d5 in the other variation will not work out here. So that's why JKD was just ensuring that he remembered the right line. But now bishop d7, there could be a problem with the knight on f5 hanging. Important tactic.
Right. Ooh, that's very interesting. And look at the time and Duda, whenever you have to move the king to f8, that is a very bad sign. This is opening domination, Robert. Unless I'm getting the wrong read on the position, this looks absolutely horrendous for JKD.
Well, you're a voracious reader. I see all those books on your shelves. You're absolutely correct here. The one issue that Wesley will have to solve is his problem on e3. You would love to put your bishop on b2 and just aim at the e5 pawn, but then you lose the defense of the e3 square. So a5 played. I think that's a very good choice by young Christoph Duda here to open up the queen side as his king is on f8, which makes his rook on h8 pretty useless for the time being.
Right. And Wesley just shifting his rook to b1. He's saying, you know what? Jan, take that a file. I don't care about the a file. Take it to your heart's content. It resolves the tension. Now, you mentioned the e3 pawn. Wesley can resolve that gradually. He can castle, go rook d1. Eventually, he can try to push that pawn to e4. The problem for Duda is just, I don't see how you stop Wesley from doing that. If white consolidates and completes his development, and here we see it, Duda trying to do something to change the trend of the game, but e4, and there we have it. He doesn't care about the passed pawn. The bishop on b5 doing a great job protecting the d3 square.
And knight h4, it's trying to be a nuisance, but after you castle, where's the attack coming from?
f4 is interesting.
f4, right? Saying, hey, you're not going to attack me. I'm going to attack you. Your king's on f8, my rook's on f1, and Danya, you called it. Here it goes.
Yeah, knight g6 might be a sad necessity here. Trying to hold things together. Yeah, he does it, but man, fe and knight f4, even just very natural play. Look at the time disparity as well. Terrible position for JKD. I wouldn't discount him. These people are monsters at defending.
And what a move, h3.
h3, calm.
I don't know if it was good, but it's a move I would not play. I was thinking of bishop to b2 to hit at the d4 pawn another time and then eventually take on e5. But Wesley just goes, I don't want your knight coming to g4. I don't want your bishop coming to g4. Let me take away that square from your pieces.
And now bishop b2. Yeah, I really like that move. I was thinking about something more concrete, but the more I look at this, yeah, you don't want to take on e5 prematurely because that gives up some squares. So bishop b2, okay, bishop c4, stopping king h7. Look at Wesley, just again, the boa constrictor mentality. Let me stop all the threats first, but bishop b6 here maybe is an interesting defensive attempt.
And he goes for, I think you could take it by queen b3 is what I'm imagining, or queen c4 might even be stronger. But after bishop e6, if you take back, queen into c4.
Then maybe king h7, and at least I evacuate my king. I go rook e8. You know, I'm not sure. I think Wesley might have played a little bit too slowly here.
You have a good point that with the king going to h7, even if it costs you a pawn, don't forget about this open a file. We liked a5 earlier, and if we start trading off pieces, that rook can infiltrate. And I'm with you, Danya. The pawn on e4 isn't exactly so stable. It's not protected by another pawn. I think that JKD's chances have improved greatly, but his time, he's down to 21 seconds.
Wesley taking a long thing, that is perhaps the most indicative of the fact that he recognizes something has gone astray. This move, bishop c4. I liked h3. Bishop c4 took it a notch too far. I think he should have gone on the offensive. Now, Bishop d3. I like this too. He's preserving the tension based on black's clock, but f5 now.
Oh, just a winning of piece.
Wow. Rook b2. I think Duda, yeah, not sure. Just too low on time. It's impossible to defend this. And good job by Wesley, hunkering down, finding the move, and now he's a piece up and really winning.
Do you think Duda is just playing it out to get closer and closer to that 1 minute time control?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe he's entertaining some hopes. King h7. At least he's made his king safe. It's going to cost a small price of a piece, but
Because if this were a classical game, he of course would resign.
Oh, totally. And knight g3. And it's not just a piece. I mean, look at the dominate. Bishop on d3, blockading the pawn. White's pieces are perfectly arranged. He's going to resign here, I think. He's going to... No, still. Bishop c1, queen f2, by the way. Interesting idea. That's in Wesley's style.
We'll make sure to ask the players after the match, but this is a question that we will probably continue asking ourselves in the audience. Is Jan-Krzysztof Duda trying to waste as much time as possible to get to the bullet where that is his biggest chance? He's seeing the smart chess predictions, and he made sure to exit the 5 minute portion even rather than down a game, which was the prediction. He wants to minimize the damage in the 3 minute portion.
No, and these players, they strategize. They think before the match, all right, bishop h